Spin and snip. Again. There could be no finer day, by the habitually foul standards of a great British spring, upon which to accompany your closest familial elder to what she claims is a long overdue session of follicular therapy, though her comprehensive fussiness regarding the venue of this bi-monthly treatment is a frequent cause of bickering, for within our immediate locality there must be more hairdressers than both vape stores and coffee shops combined, and facilitating every conceivable form of exotic scalp topiary, whether it's a straight cut, short shave, wash, dye and blow dry, or perm set and spruce up. There are beauty salons waiting to serve their critical customers' unconditional demands, and Turkish scissorsmiths armed with a host of the most sophisticated trimming devices this side of Kew Gardens, who would leave not a loose hair unbrushed. However, only Sellies, a gender-neutral barbers located an entire town east, were capable of rendering the even shape and subtle bleach-blonde tint that my maternal business partner deemed were imperative for next Sunday's social gathering. The estimated 120 broken horsepower that her privately chartered Skoda Octavia's aging 1.5-litre petrol engine could have generated, had mid-morning congestion not reduced the itchy-footed driver's average speed to that of most dawdling double-deckers, would have exceeded my own weighted power output by no fewer than 88 kilowatts, and allowed her to reach her destination more than 5 minutes ahead. As things pootled out, in relatively neutral conditions, the amount of fuel consumed over the course of a flat 8-mile journey from Shoreham's sun-soaked peninsula to the gentrified heart of Hove Actually would have amounted to roughly 1.6% of its 50-litre reserve, which at our country's current volatile rates for combustible energy would have cost a few pence over £1, leaving abundant margin for profit from any desperate clients, even without tips or elevated weekend fares. Note that this tenuous calculation was based on both the vehicle's tank capacity along with its purportedly typical per-litre/gallon range of 10 and 45 miles. Somewhat later that afternoon, once the ultraviolet rays of Earth's solar sage had mellowed enough not to dazzle aspiring fighter pilots roaming the spotless blue skies in their Piper Cherokees, and cause any premature natural tan seekers to apply a layer of thermally retentive fabric over the Factor 50 sun cream, I sailed off on an impromptu out and back to retrieve the pearly white padded gilet that Mum had left hanging on the coat stand, which her personal manicurist had claimed wasn't there, though as I pulled up outside the premises, having taken a few risky liberties during my tough-tempo trek along central Sussex's lengthiest coastal carriageway, I spied it instantly, grinning through the glass window, and awaiting swift reunification with its rightful owner before any enterprising philanthropist declared it officially orphaned and gave next door's foundational charity shop a truly heartwarming gift. Back with my nose to the stem and grubstone the following and equally fair afternoon, it was sporadic business as usual between stationary intervals of administrative affairs, with an initial request from the Just Scoffers to service a stranded customer of Ham Road's Alpha Cooperative trader in Tangible Conveniences, who still don't offer their irresistible Somerset cheddar and cauliflower quiche within the streamlined range of groceries that either their employed drivers or collaborating couriers can deliver within 60 minutes. Had no idea nor wished to speculate over the contents of the solitary package that awaited my relieved eyes upon entering the empty store, though its weight, along with the absence of any age-restricted items, suggested an assortment of jarred condiments and non-alcoholic libations. Spying no staff to oversee my collection, I discreetly squeezed the consignment into my hamper, tapped to verify shipping had commenced, and navigated to my destination with no computational aids. Bucci Crescent was long known amongst Shoreham's more safety-conscious cyclists for its treacherous surface, which once harboured craters deep enough to accommodate 3-storey doomsday shelters, though since major reparations were recently completed, at the supposed behest of residents whose pets had needed rescuing by the local fire brigade, my steed has yet to suffer any further pinched flats. My client's abode resided in a diminutive, low-rise and slightly run-down block at the Crescent's southern end, next to an oddly appointed row of terraced houses, as if tagged on like a hasty afterthought by an ambitious developer who had suddenly run short of funds. Pressed the apartment's weathered bell button, and was advised by its occupant over a crackly intercom to push hard upon the main door, shuffled up a shadowy staircase, noting both the musky aroma and an agoraphobic mountain bike leaning against the banister. Almost mistook the flat's allocated storage locker for its entrance, since it was situated directly opposite across the hallway, and bore the same number in bold chrome characters. My grateful recipient answered, wearing a blue beanie hat and slightly bemused expression, I suspected due to suboptimal sleep hygiene, though the handover code he provided worked first time, whereupon I relinquished his party bag of anonymous consumables and became £5 better off. Forever young at heart. Somewhere, amidst the utter dearth of delectable data that Strava's perpetually fitness-focused cyclo-analysts would declare as suitable for digging their algorithmic teeth into, came a few further charming photo opportunities that were at least worthy of attention from an iPhone 16e's 48-megapixel camera, despite its lack of cinematic mode, small image sensor, fixed focal length, limited optical zoom range, and comparatively poor performance when shooting nighttime scenes or within environments where there is low ambient light, due to its diminutive aperture providing less scope for natural exposure. Fortunately, by broad illumination of today's radiant spring sun, even when filtered through velvet stratus veils, no artistic depth of field effect or fancy post-snap computations were necessary to faithfully capture the colourful appeal and profound character of this pre-loved toy Batcave. Once a proud and lucky child's festive gift, that no doubt caused its elated recipient to shriek with primeval excitement and dance jigs of joy around the living room, probably dressed in his older brother's caped crusader costume, then leap across Dad's beloved mock Chesterfield sofa, smashing a full glass of Special Reserve Prosecco over his PS5 Pro, just as he was about to slaughter the Joker in Batman Arkham Knight. Yet now, here it lay, upon the manicured lawn of its former abode, cast out as kerbside bric-a-brac in order to maximize inhabitable loft space for a practical home office, and desperately awaiting a new home, with fresh faces from which to elicit more smiles, with what play was left echoing around its plastic walls.